Alright, so in today's video we have a bit of a cool topic. So I got this box in the mail from Italy, and it is one of my radios that has apparently failed. The radio still works as far as I remember, but the Bluetooth is completely dead. And again, quick numbers for how often this happens. Very hand wavy. I'm not keeping any statistic on it. I would say somewhere around less than 10. I'm pretty sure it's less than 10, but let's go for 10 out of 250, 300. So, and up to now, a bunch of them, right, and the failure modes that occurred were basically, I would say they're very correlated with what parts the Bluetooth board integrators use. So a lot of them had, I think the first batch of failures had the memory chips die. Few, like very few, had the radio die. I think one or two had the radios, maybe even one. But this is a few years back. The whole Bluetooth chip seemed to work, right? The processor inside seemed to work. The LED was flashing. It seemed to do its boot sequence, but you couldn't see the thing on Bluetooth, right? And I reflashed it and it still would do that, right? So the radio was dead. A few had the dead memory chip, which I actually swapped in one case to confirm, and then they worked. None of these are rated for 100+ degrees, which are happening inside these radios during the summer. So whoever rides them during the summer is going to stress them excessively. But then again, these are $15, so it's fine. And one of them caught fire, right? It's a video a while back. I think I posted a short on that. And I have no idea how that caught fire. I think I might have dropped the screwdriver and cracked a capacitor or something, is how I think that went down. And it's been a while, right? So the one that caught fire came back, and now this one came back, and I'm very curious. And I don't want to rob you guys of my excitement and fun, so we're going to do this together. And this client is very nice, right? I remember him from back in the day, right? It says November 2022 over here, but we're going to see inside the exact date this was wrapped. And he remembered how I wrapped them, so I do actually use this stretch tape and then something soft, so in case water gets in the package, you're still covered. Actually, cool story that I'm going to tell you guys because I'm going to forget in a few years. I actually sent my first radio to... it was one of my first internationally sent radios, and I've sent it to Bangladesh or thereabouts. I don't think it was India. It was something a bit more low-key. Even weirder than Bangladesh, I don't know. Something super small. I think it was Bangladesh. And there was a problem, right? The guy received his radio in like a month or 2 months, I think. It was a lot. And the box was super like messed up and wet. And you'd see the carton, right, completely fall off and like had gotten black from the mold and shit. And he asked me, dude, should I take it? Because it looks like this. And I'm like, yeah, do it. Because it's wrapped in foil. And he did, and it was fine. So we can see someone has attempted. Has someone attempted? We'll see. If someone took a gander at my warranty label. Oh, and did I put different screws? I don't think I was this reckless in 2022, but who knows? I was a shadow of my present self. And I used to write the prices for these, so I got this for 60 euros. I already had problems securing cheap units. Okay, so this was cut. Laser okay, also in November, and So 16th of November is when I've actually sealed it up. And since the warranty sticker was cut, this has no more warranty. But I mean, 2022 wouldn't have had warranty, and there are no screws in here. There's one. All right, so I 100% didn't do that. I'm sorry. Like, you guys and girls can believe me or not, but I realize there's nothing else that I can say on video, but at the very least, I cannot be suspected of not having screws, right? Because I do. And I've had them for at least, what is it? 5-6 years. I've started gathering them. Why am I taking this apart is the question. Reflex. Alright, so let's plug it in. And I'm going to be using my Type-C 12-volt trigger into my XT60 interconnect into my ISO radio connector. And this has ignition and backlight as well. So let's go. Alright, radio is alive. These are insanely good. I've mentioned this in the past, but as a hardware product, as an electronic widget, I find this Alpine radio to be outstanding. Like, outstanding. The encoders never fail, the displays never fail. The CD, yeah, well, it does fail, but I mean, there's a lot of crap in here, so that's fine. And I have had one be in a car fire, and you'd see right where they put out the fire and water with soot had gathered and dried in like circles. The fuse was dead. The face was completely melted off. I swapped the face. I put a new fuse in. I've used it in my car for 7 months, and I sold it again with the label on it, right? So the guy could have contacted me, and he hasn't. So it's still running. Fantastic. And I've seen none like act up, like forget their code or whatever. And I have gone through like 400-600 of these, like a lot. Okay, so let's put the code in. 42620. 42620. All right. And with this model, right, you were supposed to get a light on here already. So AM or not, this is supposed to work, and it doesn't. So I think we can hot unplug. Oh, there's one more screw here. All right. So someone has prioritized the screws they had left after apparently losing quite a bunch. And Alberto was very nice, right? He said that he really wants the radio working as it used to, and that he was really enjoying the Bluetooth. I don't know, it was a very wholesome conversation. All right, so, and this has been saying error for the past also 5 years. All right, so first of all, whilst the radio is on, we're supposed to see some voltage over here. We are, right? So that's fine. So we are enabling the DC-DC converter, all right. We're also supposed to have the main V-bus over here. And it's supposed to be a bit higher, to be honest. Why is it this low? What is happening? Why is it alive now? Is this a broken solder connection? What is going on? Oh, that is suspicious. Let me see if I can somehow probe the main input to the radio. what kind of current are we drawing? Because this is very suspicious. I'm not gonna lie. So let's look into it. Alright, that's fine. Let's whilst you input the code, a lot of the stuff is enabled, so they can factory test it most likely, and it actually uses 10 watts. It enables the amplifier. Alright, so it works now, which is a problem. Because why does it work? What the hell? And so if this is measuring 12 volts, it means we're plugging in 12 volts onto here, and we're only seeing 10 volts over here. So I'm gonna touch this up real quick and see if that does anything. But that is strange. And also very good fun, right? This is exactly why I started filming. Alright, so now that's touched up. Let's start everything back up. And see how that looks. This is strange. Nine 9.4. I really remember this was supposed to be like a proper V-Bus. What the hell? Yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely very afraid to call it fixed by now, but it's functional. And whether it's fixed is a different question. See, we again have 9 volts here. So I think there's an improper connection between the connector and amplifier daughter board and the motherboard. So let's try wiggling this around. I'm just gonna disconnect this, run some contact cleaner on all the connections, and be back and see how that changes everything. Alright, so after optically inspecting everything involved, and one thing I did also do is slightly bend the pins on this. Let me see if I can get it out. Oh, there you go. So I've bent these ever so slightly and doused a lot of contact cleaner in these connectors and this one, so they should be fine, and I've reinserted them a couple of times. If you want to remove this daughter board without actually removing everything, you have to sand down this edge of the board because it's it'll totally foul on this, and there's absolutely no way. But anyway, that being said, I've reconnected everything and discovered a different problem, which is always good, clean fun in the workshop. Okay, so boom. No. No. This is always pain in the ass. Yeah, it actually worked marvelously off camera. But let's see. So the thing is, the board has to come this way as much as possible to not foul on the connector. These are definitely not easy to put back together. And I've done very few of them in the last 3 years, so my hands no longer trained. But oh fuck, shit. Oh well. Ah, fuck. Okay. So anyway, let's connect this back together. And show you guys what I've seen. So with the radio off, it's using 200 milliamps. And we have, on my connector, 11.8. And there we have, can you guys see it? 12.03. So that's pretty close. And if we check the actual ISO connector, pretty much the same deal. There are a few pins that have this voltage on them. Let me see if I can find them. Yeah, so 11.95. Right, I'm getting 11.93 after all the connectors. And if I do turn it on and the amplifier turns on and everything, I am getting 11.68, right? 67, whatever, right? Because we have a Type C connector, then a lot of wires, and then this barrel connector, and then the connector here. And so in this case, 9.7 at 1 amp sounds about, doesn't sound that bad anymore, right? And so measuring further, right, thou shalt measure voltages, we can see, let's see if the enable is here. So enable should be here actually. Let me see. So enable's here. And so our DC-DC converter that I'm using should be enabled. And so we should get 5 at the entry point to our Bluetooth board. So, and we are, right? We're seeing 5. And so this part is a B0503, so we should get 0.3 on the other side. Now this is an isolating DC-DC converter, but we should be able to measure using the same ground, the chassis ground, because the audio goes back. The audio out of this board is a single-ended output where the ground is actually again touching the ground. So we should see that on the input. So on the input, we should be seeing 5, which we do. On the output, we should be seeing 3, which we don't. And just for good measure, let's assume it's all isolated and floating. Maybe our ground for the audio is broken. So we have 5 over here, and we should have 3 over here. And we don't. And we really don't. Right, so I'm gonna suspect that this is an issue. And fortunately, from my days of intensive Bluetooth modding, I do have one, which is a different brand, but should be the same thing. So let's get to swapping it out. Okay, so oh, this isn't the prettiest job, but I do consider it is good enough for the girls I go out with. Is what Abe would say. And that is a damn good expression. So, this is dead. Let's just throw it away immediately. Okay. So, I don't know. Let's just plug it in and see. All right. And the Bluetooth board seems to have kept its settings, so that hasn't experienced any issues, right? This chip would die very often. I mean, it would die sometimes. And it depends on the model, right? The FM front end, FM AM front end gets really, really hot. And actually, back in the day, I used to put the boards sometimes over here, especially in the models that have the removable faceplate. They uses up all the space, the mechanism, and they would actually shut off at the data sheets for the CSR 8645 I used back then said that they only run up to 85 degrees or something. The clocks for the entire Bluetooth radio thing have to be really precise, and so they probably can't guarantee that after a certain temperature. And so they would actually shut off and then turn back on during the summer days. And yeah, so since then I've actually removed them. But for the Becker models that I do, I still locate the Bluetooth board around the front end. So yeah, it is quite toasty in there. Yeah, I'll just probably get this playing and call it a fix. So in this case, it was the DC-DC converter, the isolating DC-DC converter. Yeah, not something spectacular, but I hope it was fun debugging this with me and sharing a nice Saturday, healthy Saturday afternoon activity with me. All right, if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. Have a good one.